My name is Mario for Cost Spirit and welcome to the channel. So today's video is going to be about, I've done one of these before, but I want to comment on a video done by Lynn Everly. I'll put a link in that video below in the descriptions. But what I want to talk about, I just want to make a few comments on what she said in her video. But first of all, I just want to say I like the content she puts out. I agree with her on a lot of things, but obviously we're all different, so we're all gonna have our own perception on things. So I just want to give a few thoughts on the things she said. But just to let you know what her videos are about. So she likes to talk about gender differences and roles, and how feminism is not healthy, or maybe it's not all cracked out for what it was thought to be, right? So what she was saying in this video here is that 85% of her viewers are guys and the other 15% are women. And she was saying how it makes sense because a lot of women, right, if they believe in feminism, they're not going to watch a video where a woman doesn't believe in feminism, right? So she goes on, she talk about that in the video, and she was saying things about, like, you know, like toxic masculinity. And she was saying that because of this whole belief system of like with feminism and toxic masculinity, that men are the obvious losers, and men are rebelling against this belief system that women think that we're toxic, right? Or that our masculinity is toxic, or that feminism is so awesome, or whatever it is, right? So what I want to talk about, what got my attention, is this statement about men are the obvious losers, and that men are rebelling. I'm not too sure, like, what does that mean, that men are the obvious losers, and that men, well, let's just stick with men are the obvious losers. So what does that mean? So where are men losing, right? So if a woman thinks that, let's just look at me for example. If a woman thinks I'm toxic, I have toxic masculinity, how do I lose? That's her perception, nothing to do with me. So where am I losing? This is where, to me, I don't quite understand where what that really means. She talks about how in divorces where men, that like the children will most likely, the course will most likely give the children to the mother, and then the father has to keep paying, right, every month and all that. So she says that like guys will lose that way, and this and that. And so I agree that there are things in there that are unhealthy and all that. But what I'm saying is, where are men losing, and who are they losing to? Okay, are they losing to women? Because that's what I don't understand. If you go to Afghanistan and you go see the Taliban, the way things are done there, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the way that the Taliban treat their women. What I'm saying is this: do they have a problem with toxic masculinity? Do they have a problem with feminism? Right? I live in Canada. Women weren't always allowed to vote. So who allowed women to vote? Women were not always allowed to be doctors. We're not always allowed to go to medical school. So who allowed women to go to medical school? Who allowed women to drive? Who allowed women to go in the army, to become police officers? Who allowed this to happen? So I agree with what Lynn's saying, that men are the obvious losers, or actually not the obvious. I think both genders are obviously losing here, but there may be a perception that men are the obvious losers. But who created this losing experience for men? It's not women, men. Men made this happen to themselves. Because if that's not true, then I guess in Afghanistan there'd be a problem with toxic masculinity and feminism, but there's not, right? So basically, at the end of the day, I'm not saying to be abusive or about I'm better than this one, but it's not what this is about. What I'm saying is I am a sovereign free being, right? If someone thinks I'm toxic, well, what do you want from me? That's their perception. It has nothing to do with me. I ain't losing, they're losing, right? Because they have these negative thoughts floating around inside their head. Unless I was toxic, then I guess they wouldn't be losing. But I don't think I am. So, in my opinion, they're the ones that they're losing. So this whole thing about toxic masculinity and feminism, like who encourages girls to get to, like the one person saying like if you think like being like a CEO of Google means you're succeeding in life, well, it's kind of superficial. Okay, and I agree with her there, but who encouraged that girl to become a CEO? Right? Was there a father? Chances are that it was her father, her mom as well, but I'm sure her father was involved as well. I mean, if let's say it was only the mother, well, what? The father just didn't say anything? Who allowed all this to happen? At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, men are losing, but they're the reason that they're losing. If all men behave if all men behave in a certain way, and the way, and what I mean by that is, let's say some girls is dating a guy, and she goes to him and she goes, you know what, you're toxic, you need to change. He's like, well, I don't think I am, so I'm not changing. So she gets all pissed and says, fine, I'm leaving. All right, so she leaves. She goes to another guy, and the same thing happens, and then to the next guy, the same thing happens. Well, what if it was done in masses, right? Well, what if most men, and let's say in Canada, were like, you know what? I don't see me being toxic. Sure, I have a few issues I need to improve on, but for the most part, I'm doing all right. So, what if you don't like it? You don't have to be here. What if all men said that? What would happen eventually? Eventually, it's either one or two things. Either in masses, women would be like, you know what, you guys are all toxic, so we're not going to interact with you, so we're going to be by ourselves, which means extinction, because you need both to come together to make babies. So there needs to be an interaction, and men and women need to learn to get along. So either that would happen, or women would be like, well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe he's not toxic, or maybe they would work out their differences. But if men keep caving in to every little thing, like if a man teaches his daughter that the most important thing in her life is to have money and have a job, okay, that's his issue. He taught her that, right? He's the one that taught her that. Well, why doesn't he teach her that the most important thing in her life is to care for her own well-being, and to be a mother, and to be a good wife, right? Well, what if he taught her that? It falls onto him and what he teaches his daughter. If he teaches his daughter that you know what I mean, that if you are like very successful financially, that you're going to be celebrated. But if you're not financially successful, but you're a mom, you're not going to be that's celebrated. If he puts financial success over motherhood, then whose fault is that? It's his own fault. He's the one raising his daughter that way. So basically, at the end of the day, there's a lot of variables here, and the point is, if you think you're losing in your life, this goes to both genders, you're responsible. You are sovereign. You are free. You're free to create the reality that you want. If you feel that you're losing, well, that's on you, right? For me, look at my life. I'm 56. I've never been married, and I don't have children. Sure, so someone could say, well, you lost. Okay, but that's one perception. And yeah, I would rather be married with children. But I'm not going to lower my standards to be with a woman that is not living a healthy lifestyle, right? Just to get married, to end up with a divorce, end up with my kids sleeping in the house without their father there to protect them, paying ridiculous amounts of money each month. I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. That's a choice I made. How many guys surrendered to their insecurities, surrendered to their low morals or low values just to get married? That's on them. So I mean, women have their issues, yeah, but the reason why men are feeling that they lost is not because of women, it's because of themselves. Like I said, going back to the Taliban, you don't have to agree or disagree with the way they're running their lives, but they do not have a problem with male whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, and they don't have a problem with feminism. So we're all free beings, we're all sovereign. If you feel you're losing, it's on you. Increase your morals and values, get closer to God, right? Because that's the ultimate relationship with the Creator. And you know what? At the end of the day, you won't feel you lost. You may not have exactly what you want. Okay, I don't have exactly what I want, but I don't feel like I'm losing. I have a great life. I'm enjoying myself. I run three YouTube channels. I'm getting healthier every day. I'm getting healthier, and I'm able to interact with the opposite sex a lot better than I used to. So I don't feel like I'm losing. All the other guys out there, that they could just change their morals and values. If you don't like the way women's behaving, you don't have to interact with them. Go interact with someone you agree with. And if there's not that many of them around, well, you're gonna have to take the hit. It's just the way it is. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Have a good day, and check out that video. I think she does a good job. I find her very intelligent in the things she says. But yeah, we're all different. So we're not all going to agree with 100%. But I'm sure if I ever met her in person, we probably would get along. So anyways, check it out, and we'll see you next video. Goodbye.